how do you communicate with your clients? Do you let them go on and on? Do you start talking with them? Do you set up texts are best, that emails are best? Or I use a product called Slack, which is a sort of a text type product. Those kinds of things. We did have a very interesting discussion. We had some people that are ADHD that are in our group. And there was one gentleman when they talked about how they communicate and, how they make it work for them and their clients. He realized, I think, during the meeting that he might be ADHD. And he was like,
that's fascinating.
He was like in his 50s, and it opened up a whole new world for him. So his biggest challenge was, I can't seem to be really communicating effectively with my clients. We're not bonding. And once we had that discussion, then he was like, oh, this makes a lot of sense now that you see it this way. That's what I'm experiencing. So he was able to connect with those people offline and, have a further relationship to talk about that.
And he would never have come to that realization had it not been for this environment.
Right. And that's something I never expected to happen. But was thrilled that it did, of course. So what? Anybody want to share something, some challenges or some thoughts that you have, or?
So I'm an independent advisor, and so I do my business through a brokerage. That's the setup in Canada. And so the brokerage needs to be able to function in the US as well. So as far as I know, my brokerage is working on expanding into the US market. So that's why I said not yet. There are a couple of other brokerages that do business in the US. Yeah. So that's that. For me, the thing that's keeping me up at night recently is email marketing. Just getting started on emailing my clients. And so just that process of realizing, okay, I can't do it from Gmail. I need to have like a domain name. Okay, now I got the domain name. Then now I have to subscribe to an email. And then I subscribe to the email and then I call them and they're like, oh no, you need the one that has security. And I'm like, So when I send an email to all my clients and it's successful, I will be like, yes, because I do want to be in touch with my clients and sending them things. I just haven't been able to do that, figure that out. It's frustrating. Thankfully, my brokerage just introduced a CRM that we can use. And so that's interesting. Just currently going through the training on that. I just need to import my contact in there and then set that up. So that's on my to-do list for this week, and test it out to myself and be like, hurrah, finally I can I can send out emails. And I think that will just help in staying connected and increasing the touch points that I have with my clients and hopefully increasing referrals back to me.
Sure. Have you thought about doing like a newsletter, an e-newsletter, maybe like once a month? Or
Yeah, I just need to figure out how to send the thing out. Like, I need that email to go out and be like, oh yeah, it reached everybody. And then, so
your CRM tool should be able to do that for you.
Yeah.
But, just getting and learning it will be the challenge. But yeah, you're able to put in your contacts, then develop the newsletter, and then actually, like Santiago can talk a little bit about the process, but you can do a workflow that actually sets it up. So Santiago, can you kind of share what we do with my newsletter?
We have an automated workflow that sends an email every week at 3 p.m. PST. So we create different templates on the marketing email that we have tool that we have on the CRM, and it's going to send every week at 3 p.m. Automatically. So we need to create every week a new content to send it. And we have different themes for every week.
And what's nice is because you're sending it through the CRM tool, it captures like when people have clicked on it, when they've opened it, if they've replied to it. so that you can find out, did all my clients get it?
Okay.
I would like to receive that because I would be interested in the type of content that's being described. So it would
So I
teach.
put a pause on my e-newsletter for a little while, but I will send you some of my
Yeah,
previous ones. I'll send you
yeah,
previous ones so you can
that'd be
have an
great.
idea. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
you
sure.
you have my email, right?
I do. I do.
Okay, all right.
And then also, like, do you have a website?
I do. It's
Okay.
taxbydesignassociates.com.
Oh, right, right. Okay, I think I have that. So you can actually do that too. Like on your website, you can have a link if you have a
Mhm.
website that has that on there too, your e-newsletter.
Yeah. Once the email gets going, and then because the thing another thing I found is the sheer amount of information, especially if one doesn't know what they're looking at. So I
Mm.
decided to take it one step at a time. And it's funny you mentioned about the man who found out he has ADHD. And so my son has ADHD. He was diagnosed with ADHD. And it was in the doctor's office that the doctor says usually it's genetic. I was like, oh,
Oh, oh.
it's genetic. Oh, okay. So that's where I find out. And then I started reading up about just seeing, and then I find that there's times that it's hard to focus sometimes, and I get distracted easily. So to help me, I focus on one step, finish this step, let's get be able to send the email out, then we go to the next step. Otherwise I find I'm like a chasing butterflies and not.
An interesting thing. Yeah, my brother found out really in life too that he was also ADHD. And so that's really changed his whole world. And he's a lawyer. He has 5 degrees. And I have no idea how he got through. Yeah. And he said to me once, he goes, "Do you not remember?" I'm 2 years older. "Do you not remember when we were kids that I never finished reading a book?" And I had to say, "Well, I was a teenager and I really didn't care what you were doing." I'm so sorry to say that. But his wife is a nurse and she figured it out. So
Yeah. I have a theory that anyone who is an adult and they accomplish stuff in their life and they find out that they have ADHD, somehow found a way to cope, right?
yes.
Yeah, somehow they found a way to cope
Yes.
because there's ADHD inattentive, the one where the person is daydreaming, and then there's I forgot the hyperactivity, and so I found that I fell more on the inattentive side, and so I remember all the times I was daydreaming. But then I also remember that because I realized it was a problem, even though I didn't know what it was, I started focusing more. So I trained my brain to focus on what I needed to focus, and I did well in school. So, so I do recognize the times when it's like, oh, it's not just working today, and then I remember that I have the capacity to focus. Maybe today is not the day, but there's another day
Right.
that I'm able. Yeah. So just working on the strength and training a muscle. Somehow, has ADHD and is accomplished, they found a way around it. And I find that sometimes finding out that there's the ADHD sometimes leads to, oh, that's why I don't do so well in this. But meanwhile, we did so well in other stuff.
Right, right. Well, and I think that also comes into now you're more aware of it. So with your clients, you're going to start seeing it in some of your clients. And that's going to explain to you why do some people get it and some people don't. So it's like, so I found that was the case, that I ended up in my corporate life working for a lot of people with that. And so like they would keep their desk full of papers, but they knew what every pile meant.
Yeah.
I just knew I put it in this pile, and then when I want to get it back, it'll be in that pile. So, and I just said, I just got to live with that because that's not the way I do stuff. but it's helpful for me because now I can very quickly spot that and know, okay, so I just adjust for that. So, and try to figure out, okay, how can I say this differently, or how can I present this in a different way, which is not something that people, accountants tend to do. We're not the most social people. We have a reputation. Let's put it that way. And we do have our own language, much like other professions.